Let me start with you, Cenk, because you and I have talked about this many times about Joe Biden's mental and physical ability to be fit to serve the most powerful and important office in the country. As you were watching last night's debate, what was going through your mind?
I was right. As you know, I took an extraordinary step of running for president against Joe Biden in the Democratic primary, even though I'm not even a natural-born citizen, because that's how desperate I was, our audience was. We did a poll and we asked our paying members, should I run? And now 9 months ago, 76% of them said, for God's sake, run. Do you know why? Because it was obvious. And what I took away from it, Piers, and what everyone should remember is how much Democratic leadership lied to you and how much everyone in mainstream media lied to you. They said the emperor had clothes when it was obvious that he had no clothes. They said that he was perfectly fine and he was a dynamo behind the scenes.
And I'll give you an example of how big a dynamo Joe Biden is behind the scenes. He was so good and so smart and quick-witted last night during that debate that he was able to tweet over 20 times while the debate was going on. When you talk about behind the scenes, I think the behind the scenes is actually a bunch of other people, and it's not necessarily Joe Biden. They just needed his face for that corporeal form, like I've mentioned before in the past. Here, I'll just pull it up and show you right here. It's posted on X. Joe Biden tweeted 23 times during the presidential debate. And here's the list. I'm not going to read them all, but all of these tweets happened last night while he was live on CNN debating Donald Trump. Now, do you guys think in all reality that Joe Biden is capable of multitasking like that? The answer is no. It's very obvious. What you're going to see in this video is basically the Democrat pundits have turned their back on Joe Biden. They're ready for him to be replaced one way or the other. And the craziest part about it is, even if he isn't replaced, they're still going to go vote for him. What kind of principle is that? They're going to sit here and argue for the next few months that he is not capable. They're going to support Kamala Harris using the 25th Amendment against him and removing him. They're going to talk up all these other candidates and say how much better they are than Joe Biden. But like I said, come November, they're going to go in there and they're going to vote for Joe. It's pretty pathetic. And I don't believe these people actually care about America or Americans. I think they're just sports fans. They root for the Democratic Party, and that's who they vote for. They go in, they vote D down ticket. And right now, in my opinion, that is the worst thing that could happen to America and Americans. And frankly, the rest of the world, when basically World War III is hanging in the balance. I believe Trump when he says that he'll have Putin and Zelensky in peace talks before he even takes office after he wins this November.
We were right all along. So the next time they tell you you got to vote for Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton in a primary because they're the only ones who can win, remember this preposterous lie. Remember how terribly they deceived you into picking the weakest candidate, not the strongest candidate. And Piers, every time I said, let's pick someone stronger so that we can beat Trump, they said, so you like Trump, you want to help Trump. No, you picked the strongest person so you can beat Trump. And apparently they couldn't understand simple concepts like that. But now the whole world has seen what we saw all along.
I added this little bonus segment just because it made me laugh. I thought it was funny. The whole I can golf better than you exchange in the debate last night was just so petty and dumb. But it's also funny because Joe Biden claimed that Trump can't carry his golf bags when everybody knows that Joe Biden can't carry a golf bag, let alone swing a golf club. But anyways, enjoy.
Bryson DeChambeau, the US Open champion of last week, has tweeted he'll put on the match Biden-Trump at golf. Can you imagine them trying to play golf against each other? So the point is Joe Biden fit mentally and physically to do the job? I don't think anyone with half a brain can conclude after last night that he is. It's very sad. It's very sad, but actually very selfish if he continues to pretend he can.
And I agree with Piers there. Anyone with half a brain should be able to agree, but you'll see that these people have less than half a brain coming right up. Back to the regular scheduled programming of Trump derangement syndrome.
Okay, so very quickly, I don't want to hog up any of your time, but one thing first. please, I love you so much. Please be an equal opportunity criticizer, because I am. And I love Joe Biden.
I've been very critical of Trump over the years, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. I think last night Trump definitely said loads of things that weren't true, as he does. He embellished, he exaggerated, all those things. But here's the thing, Mo. No one today is talking about Donald Trump. What they should have been talking about is Joe Biden, the president, holding Trump to account on a massive stage for all the lies he was telling. But he couldn't do it. I mean, look. I can see people trying. A lot of people in the Democrat Party like Biden. I've read Thomas Friedman saying he cried last night, the New York Times columnist, when he was watching it. Frank Bruni was sort of tearing up. Everyone's tearing up. I don't really feel emotional, I'm afraid, and I find it very hard to feel sympathy for Joe Biden. I think it was very sad what we watched, but I also think we're now at the stage where this is actually willfully selfish and harming to the Democrat Party, isn't it?
Yeah, so I only have one point that I have sympathy for Joe Biden on. But first of all, these guys, I mean, look at the people in power, whether it's media or Democratic leadership. They're all crying because, their beloved Joe Biden didn't look good. I mean, this guy just sent $20 billion to slaughter more Palestinian children. I cry for them. I don't cry for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has taken corporate donations his entire life. He used to be known as the senator from MBNA. This guy is a classic corporate corrupt Democrat. So I don't join any of this like, oh my God, he was such a good person. And think about this. This guy, and even if you disagree with me and you think, oh my God, no, I love establishment Democrats that sell us out to the donors. Oh, you're so radical for saying things that are obviously true. But think about this, even for those guys, he was willing to risk all of us, the Democratic voters, the Democratic Party, the entire country, just to satiate his ego. Oh, I want to be a two-term president. That's better for my legacy. So he's an egomaniac that I have no sympathy for, except one thing. Last night was elder abuse. And it was elder abuse by the entire Democratic leadership, the DNC, and yes, sorry, but Jill Biden. If Jill Biden wants to run for president, she should do it. But, I mean, there's no way that a loving spouse lets that happen.
No, I agree.
And thinks, oh, great, push him out there, we got this. You don't have it. This is absurd. But the one piece of good news out of all this, Piers, is it's over. We're going to get a new candidate, and hopefully we're going to kick Donald Trump's ass.
And Cenk, before I go to Hassan,
quickly,
who would your preference be for who that person should be that could actually be the nominee and potentially beat Trump?
So the problem with the Democratic Party is that they never pick a populist in a populist time. They keep picking the most establishment candidates there are when the American people keep telling you they don't want establishment candidates like Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. So they should pick a populist, but they won't. Of course, the top candidate is Bernie Sanders, and he would easily beat Donald Trump. Everybody actually knows that. They just don't. And let's be honest, the Democratic Party would rather have Donald Trump than Bernie Sanders. So, but if you say, no, Bernie Sanders is too old or we can't have it, you can go to Ro Khanna, you can go to Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin is beloved by everyone in the Democratic Party. He's incredibly smart, incredibly principled. He would eviscerate Donald Trump in a debate. Let's pick someone who can win and actually represent the people.
That's pretty funny because just last week he said Gretchen Whitmer and he didn't mention her at all this time.
Okay, before I come to Hassan, actually, let me just get Vinny's reaction to that. What one name?
I'm afraid I'm going to disagree with Cenk there.
Yeah, go on then. Okay, Hassan, you respond, yeah.
Okay. First of all, Big Gretch. That's it. That's the method. That's the movement, okay? Put Mama Gretch in office, okay?
Oh, there it is. These people are pathetic. Gretchen Whitmer and Gavin Newsom locked down their states and were so power hungry. She even faked her own potential kidnapping or something like that, right? So get out of here with that crap.
She's popular. She's in a pivotal state. She would absolutely crush it. I don't like Gavin Newsom at all. I think he has a lot of weaknesses. I think he's horrible. He's done an abysmal job refusing to fix the housing crisis in California that's obviously contributing to the homelessness crisis so that, guys like Vinny can complain about how much of a shithole California is or whatever people talk about. Like, that would stick on a national level on Gavin Newsom. Don't turn the rest of the country into California.
So does that mean he won't vote for Gavin Newsom if he happens to replace Biden? Of course he will. These people are jokers. I hope he eats these words. Well, actually, I hope he doesn't, because I want Biden to make it to the 2024 election, because there's no chance, he has zero chance at beating Donald Trump this year.
I think it's funny how everybody on the left is so, this whole failed presidency is because of Biden's age and his dementia, which he definitely has. Whoever's going to come in, it's the Democratic Party's policies. Plain and simple. I don't give a damn who you put in there. Gretchen, Bernie Sanders, communism, you want socialism, you want all that crap. It's not going to fix anything. That shit's going to keep going. Say what you want. Last night solidified it even more for the independents in the middle that are kind of on the fence. I would much rather vote for the convicted felon than this poor old moron that they wheel out there now on purpose like a sacrificial lamb with no drugs and everything to turn. You notice, Piers, every other debate, every CNN anchor, everybody that was moderating would cut Trump off. They would yell. They would stop. Notice how they sat there, Jay Tapper and Dana Bash. They were quiet. They let everything pull out. This was all on purpose. And I think that Hillary Clinton's on the table. I think Gavin Newsom, for sure, he was the only one there. You notice that? He had good gel in his hair.
I've said for 2 years that I think Newsom is the one that could put up the best fight. And I was persuaded when he went on Fox News into the heart of the enemy lair and sat there with Sean Hannity for an hour and acquitted himself very, very well.
I really like Vinny. He's over there on the PBD podcast, if you're curious what he's from. And I gotta add this. Gavin Newsom got destroyed by Ron DeSantis in their little debate they did just, 6 months ago? I don't think Gavin Newsom stands a chance really either, but he's definitely, in my mind, the best candidate to go against Trump. I think he's the one that would give Trump the biggest run for his money. But I'm with Vinny. I don't think anybody that they put in there, the Democrat policies, that's the big issue. The face behind it doesn't matter at this point. The people, us Americans, we're tired of paying up to 400% increase on our grocery bills. We're tired of paying twice as much in fuel and gas that we used to. We're tired of interest rates being off the charts. We're worried about our Social Security being there when it's time for us to retire. The list goes on and on. The list goes on and on. And to be honest, I don't trust a lot of the Republicans that have held these positions for so long. I'm a big fan of term limits and things like that. But one person that I do trust is Donald Trump. And no, he's not perfect, but he is definitely somebody that's in it for the American people. And he's not in it to get rich. He's already rich. And he's just getting richer and richer off of business deals that he's making. He literally just made, $3-4 billion off of his SPAC. I'm a big fan of somebody that does the job because they feel that the job needs to be done and that they're the one that can do it, versus somebody that's chasing power, that's chasing money. Look at how much money these political leaders make while they're in office. So much more beyond what their actual paycheck gives them. Whether it's trading stocks or taking favors from lobbyists or however they do it, the American people can't handle much more of this. A lot of people are working check to check. They're living off of credit. And that's the type of thing that we're worried about. They like to keep us distracted by fighting over racism or transgenderism or LGBTQ stuff or whatever, when the reality is the American people are all suffering from the same bad policies, these bad Democrat policies. Joe Biden said last night that the billionaires, the top 1%, they need to pay their fair share. Well, I'm not a fan of that. I'm a big fan of the people who are spending the money, these leaders that we elect to represent us, actually spending within their budget. If they had more money, if they had the billionaires pay more, they would just spend more. It wouldn't actually fix any of our problems. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.